Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Well, everybody's all abuzz about Tucker Carlson and Don Lemon being fired yesterday. The real news is that the Packers and the Jets have finally agreed on a trade for Aaron Rodgers. In addition to Rodgers, the Jets are going to get the Packers' first round for this year, and they're also going to get their fifth round pick. Green Bay, for giving up Rodgers, they're going to get the Jets' first round pick. They're also going to get their second and their sixth for this year, and a conditional pick for next year. Now that conditional pick could turn into a number one choice if Rodgers plays more than 65% of the Jets snaps. Now with that, the Packers now going to have 11 overall picks in the draft, and they're also going to have 4 in the first 3 rounds. And in addition to that, they have moved up in the draft from the 15th place to the 13th place. So the Jets have immediately become a playoff contender, providing that they can keep Aaron Rodgers healthy. And the Jets, the way they played last year, they seem to be just 1 or 2 players away from the playoffs, and one of those positions was the quarterback. Now with these picks that they've traded with Green Bay for, they can bolster that defense and plug any other holes that they may have. So the Jets are going to be an interesting team to watch. Meanwhile, what about the Packers? They are giving away Rodgers because primarily he's old. But if you think about it, they just helped New York do what they should have done. The Jets decided to bench Zach Wilson a few months ago and say, well, we're going to use him and sit him on the bench and let him learn from a master. They got the master now. Meanwhile, Green Bay, they're going to go with Jordan Love, probably, unless they can come up with some kind of master quarterback, which there aren't any out there. And they're going to go with Jordan Love, who's in his 3rd year, who's been sitting around Rodgers for the last couple of years. But the thing is, what if Rodgers would have stayed another year or 2 in Green Bay and continued grooming Jordan Love? Isn't that the same situation that they're going to be in New York? Seems like it to me. So what are the Packers going to do? Obviously, they must be thinking of picking up a quarterback in the first round. So they've gone down to 13 now. They have all these different picks. I think they're going to trade down some more to try to get one of these quarterbacks out there. And guess what? A good pick probably for them would be C.J. Stroud. Everybody's downgrading him on his board, and it doesn't look like he's going to go in that first 10 picks. So C.J. Stroud might be a good possibility for the Packers. But one note that a lot of people aren't talking about is the Bryce Purdy effect. Purdy came out of nowhere, and now other teams feel like they can find their own guy to come out of nowhere, and they can get rid of a guy like Rodgers and move forward into the future. Will that always happen? No. There are going to be a few Brock Purdy's come along every now and then, but that's not something you can depend on. Most of the time, you're going to have to build your quarterback, let him develop, and go from there. Now, we know that Lamar Jackson still hasn't signed with Baltimore. Maybe he could be a possibility of going to Green Bay and have Jordan Love play behind him. But now you're talking about a huge contract for Jackson, and then you will have another large contract coming up for Jordan Love. Eventually, you're going to have to part ways with somebody. So a lot of decisions must be made as we approach this draft in a couple of days. But right now, it looks like the Jets, in my opinion, have the better part of this trade, and it kind of debunks what I thought. I thought they were going to blow it like they always do, and they were going to end up with a guy like Mitchell Trubisky. So what's going to happen with Trubisky? I don't know yet, but I just was sure that he was going to end up with the Jets. So I was wrong on that one, but who knows? He still may end up with the Jets because Pittsburgh is not going to be the place for him. So I keep my eye on all of this situation, and we'll talk more about this as the draft approaches. Sports for Real.